If you look towards the future here and looking to like grow your business, what are those trends that you're really seeing that, hey, this is going to work to our advantage and we can really support people in this area?
Well, what a great question. And the biggest thing I think is the grid growth, um the load growth that we're seeing out there from a variety of reasons. And it actually dovetails into the previous question about AI. I mean, the expansion of AI and data centers and the computing power that's required to supply those very powerful tools is significant. And as a culture, continue to adopt it, we're going to see load growth on the grid. We're also seeing load growth on the grid in a lot of different ways. People have been transitioning to electric vehicles, and this is something that I certainly don't think should be, a political or a ideological switch. Like driving electric vehicles is just straight up cheaper. Like just a great deal. Like no matter how you slice it, and they're super fun to drive. And don't let anyone tell you differently that you need to have the purr of an engine. They are super fun. Um, and but now in the current political environment, we have some instability again in the Middle East. We're seeing gas prices start to go up, due to geopolitics and like and that's just not gas that gets put in your car or gets put in your vehicles. That's natural gas and other petroleum products that are running our grid. They're running peaker plants. They're running heating in homes. And so I think we are at the cusp. Even before this whole geopolitical crisis that's going on, we've seen utilities that normally escalate their rates at 3 or 4% a year announce 7 or 8% increases just in one year, last year. Like it was already happening that prices were driving up in a supply and demand problem. And now we're facing a potential fuel crisis due to geopolitics. And I think we're at the cusp of something really big, a breaking open where just like electric vehicles, distributed energy in general, having your own energy assets locally, whether that's at your home, at your place of business, at your community level, maybe, will become more and more desirable, more and more common, more and more cost effective, as we see this shift that the macro grid, big, gargantuan, um, centralized energy system that we've grown up with starts to falter with these new requirements. And so again, I don't think that's ideological, although I'm certainly a big fan of clean, zero emission energy. I think it's also just smart business and smart governance to look at distributed energy. I'm excited for that pivot because in the past there have been lots of like government subsidies. There have been lots of um, funding programs, grant funding programs, and we've participated in a lot of deployment programs that have been grant funded. And I do see this global economic turn that I think is going to drive everything like into the future and require less subsidy, require less external funding, and stand on its own 2 feet.